Hey guys, what's up? We're back and we're ready. Thank you to everyone who has subscribed. I can't believe we're over 1,000 followers already. I'm so happy. Happy for all the comments, negative and positive. We respond to as many as we can. Thank you so much for joining me on my journey. Now, let's just get into it. There's a lot of things going on social media around the world. We got cases like P. Diddy. Did he do it or did he not? I mean, this is just crazy. You know, we've heard stories for the past 25 years about all the crazy parties, about, does he play for the other team or not? I mean, there's just a lot going on. Now, the big question is, do you think Diddy's going to actually go to prison? And I do think he will. They actually want to bring civil lawsuit against him, and this is going to get dirty because pretty much P. Diddy is the new Black Epstein. He's been doing these crazy parties for a long time. He's bringing in prostitutes from all over the country, maybe even from cross seas. He's paying them. He's filming this stuff. He's got drugs out on tables and people just getting drugged. And Diddy likes to be on camera. We all know this. And I'm pretty sure there's going to be some interesting recordings found with all the evidence that the feds have right now. Another case that recently just finished, and I watched most of it, and I believe, even if you're not a rap fan, if you might like another genre of music, but this just goes to show you that the streets are not for everyone, and the street code does not hold up like everyone actually thinks it does. We have two people that were supposedly going to get paid $100,000 to kill young Dolph. These guys never got a penny. They went and committed the murder. And at the end of the day, they never got paid for it. One of them's on the stand testifying against the other. So there's two shooters. One's testifying against the other. And it just goes to show you that this is the streets. This is what is cool now. People just don't think. You guys think that you're not on camera. There's cameras everywhere. They're watching every move you make. Especially when you're living in the projects. I mean, I don't know what these guys were thinking. Just complete idiots. Driving to the projects, driving to pick up his daughter in this building with cameras everywhere. There's cameras inside the elevators. You're going to pick up your daughter an hour before you go commit a murder. It's just heinous people that actually deserve to be in prison for the rest of their lives. I'm surprised they didn't give him the death penalty because I know and I believe in Tennessee they do have lethal injection, which I think is just better off. Why pay for these people to live in prison? I was in prison myself, but I do believe that if you take a life, your life should be taken. Unless you're in harm's way, you're trying to protect yourself of a home invasion, or someone's trying to rob you, someone's trying to rape you, or your wife, or your children, then I believe all goes. But if you're not in that predicament, I don't believe you should be able to take a life and just walk the earth and still breathe. That's my side. But getting back into it, let's go. We're going to get into part two. I remember part one, we left off with G. I met this kid G. We were working at a warehouse, Barnes & Noble's warehouse in Cranberry, New Jersey. And yeah, we became boys, started going over to his house. And one of the days, we show up there and his cousin Ricky's there. Young Colombian kid. Seemed pretty cool. Roll a couple blunts together. We eat. And pretty much just kicking it. Talking about life. He's talking about, things he's doing with Tulio and his people. That I asked him, how do we get into this? And pretty much he said, little by little, you'll learn. So couple weeks later, I get invited to this Christmas party. I show up there with these guys. There's a bunch of, drug traffickers there. And they're living the life. We got cocaine on the table. We got bottles of whiskey everywhere, champagne, nice looking women, nice cars. Guys are dressed up nice. They got jewelry on, They're just living the life. And then one of the guys walks out to me, introduces himself. He says, "Hey, I'm Tulio. I'm Ricky's uncle. Have you ever traveled to Colombia?" And I said, "No, why?" And he said, "It's something you could think about. You could go make a trip, bring back something, you make a quick 20,000, and that's it. We'll start working together. At that age, I just really was only thinking about money. I wanted to ball out, like you would say back in the day, and yeah, I was interested. Went home after the party, didn't really have to think about it. I immediately wanted to do it. Let Ricky and G know, I'm all in. How do we do it? When do we set it up? And they told me it'd be a couple months. I guess first they wanted to test me out, see if I had the balls to do other things. So eventually, we would go out. I'd go with them, go pick up money. We'd go pick up drugs, transport it from one spot to another. We'd be taking drugs to spots where they were sold, bagged up, but we were just taking the kilos, full kilos. We'd take 1 or 2, or it could be 1,500 grams, which was 1.5 kilos. But yeah, we'd take them to these spots and pick up the money and bring it back. Now, we also had a couple connects in Elizabeth, which is where we were living at the time. And we were bringing this stuff all the way to the projects. We were giving it to this guy. He was running the projects at the time. His name was Sean. You could go at any given moment downtown Elizabeth, and there would be around 100 people, just filled with people. Everyone's selling something. You could buy weed, you could buy cocaine, heroin, anything you could think of. I'm pretty sure you could buy guns there as well. And this is where we would start working with this guy named Sean in Elizabeth. Now later on, we would start bringing him multiple keys. He would pay cash on spot, or he could also do half and half, which we would give us half the cash now, give him 3 or 4 days, and we'd pick up the rest of the cash later, which with us was always working out fine as long as the gentleman paid. So yeah, we're working. So this older gentleman named Tulio had my number. At the time, we had beepers, and he would beep me. I remember the first time I got a beep from him, and I called him back, and first thing he said, "Are you around these guys?" I said, "No." Meaning, was I around G or Ricky? Ricky being his, he was his nephew. And he told me, "Are you around these guys?" I said, "No, I'm not." He said, "All right, good. Listen, I need you to meet me at 74th Street and Roosevelt Avenue in Queens. We got some work to do. Come by yourself, and we'll talk then." So that's what I did. Pretty much got ready. Hopped on the train to Queens. Met this gentleman, Tulio, there at the 74th Street station. Then we walked about 30 blocks. Actually, about 40 blocks from 74th Street to 111th. 41st Avenue. He had an apartment in this building that was at the corner. We went upstairs. This young lady opened up the door. Beautiful Dominican girl. Her name was Amanda. I don't know. I don't remember her last name. But we walked in. She had a very young daughter. I believe was around 3 or 4 years old at the time. And she was in her own world playing in her room. And we're in the kitchen with this young lady, Amanda. And he pretty much explains to me, I have a machine here, which is a compressor. And from time to time, I will give you a call or a beep. And I need you to come here. I'm going to pay you $500 a key. So you come here to the apartment and you're going to compress. I'll let you know what you need to do, be it in blocks of 50 grams, 100 grams, or a quarter of a key. And I was down with it. He said he would be paying me $500. For me at the time, it was a ton of money. And I love the action. I love to be working. I love to be doing something. So he pretty much shows me the machine. He had some drug stash at that apartment, showed me how to use it. He showed me the different molds that were available. And that's what we would do. He would call me from time to time. I'd travel to Queens by myself, not letting anyone know where I was going. And I would go to work. This would take me 3, 4, 5, 6 hours, depending on how much material we had. There was an apartment that we had also in Queens, not too far from that spot, across the street from the Elmer's Hospital. I would go there, and I would go there and just pick up drugs from a closet that was in the main bedroom from a young lady named Claudia. I actually met this kid again after 25 years. Not met him, but we talked online and over the phone. This was the young kid that was traveling to Colombia, bringing back drugs. And he had, at least I didn't think he had any idea what he was doing. So in his apartment, which his mother lived in and his younger brother, this gentleman Tulio would stash drugs in her master bedroom closet, and I would know when I got the call that I would have to go there to pick up whatever I had to compress. So pretty much I'd get a beep, I'd go to the apartment, I'd show up, Claudia would open up the door, she'd be like, it's up there. I'd go in, I'd grab it, and then I'm off to the apartment on 111th. I'd get there, the machine was there, the compressor, and I'd pretty much go into the bedroom, and I would put on long sleeves, I'd put on a surgical mask, I would put on surgical gloves, and that's it. I'd get to work, I'd start putting these drugs into the molds that were told to me what molds they needed, be it 50 grams, be it hundreds, or be it 250. I would get paid for this. So once I was done compressing whatever I had, I would beep this guy Tulio. He'd call me back to the apartment, and he would let me know where I had to take it. So pretty much I would gather up all these drugs, stick it in my book bag, and then I would travel to wherever the location was. Once I got there, it would be hand-to-hand exchange. I'd give up the drugs, they would give me the cash, and then I'd come back, and eventually Tulio would meet me back at the apartment on 111th and 41st Avenue. So pretty much this guy, sending a young kid to do his dirty work, a young kid that didn't look like he was a drug dealer, and nobody would really suspect anything of me walking down the street with a key or two keys in my book bag, all compressed into different size molds. But, just thinking back on what I used to do as a young kid, it's insane how this guy would convince me as a young kid with money. Obviously, that's what I wanted. I knew what I was getting into. And eventually, he would also have me sending money back down to Colombia. So when the money gets up, when the drugs get up here, this gentleman Tulio would take the drugs, he would sell them, and then he'd have the cash. But as we all know, it's not that easy to send the cash back down to Colombia. Back in the day, I don't know about now, but back in the day, if you'd send $932, you would pay $68 the fee to send this money. And then you would just keep it at $1,000. I wouldn't have to show any ID. And that's what I would do. So I'd have a duffel bag with 50, 60 grand in it. I'd have a driver, which was a friend of this guy's, Tulio, and he would know what the deal was. And I'm basically in the back of this limo, because back in the day it was those Lincoln Town cars, the black one, all tinted out, the windows, nobody could see who's inside. And I have a map of Manhattan's Western Unions. So back in the day, you could walk into a Western Union and you could grab one of their brochures and it would open up into a map. And it would show the entire island of Manhattan, and it would show every single Western Union that it had. And that's what I would do. I would have a black marker with me, cross off as we went until all the money was gone. Each Western Union that I did was for $932, and the fee was $68 to send it. Now, remember, I didn't have to show any ID. I was a minor, and no one ever asked for any ID either. I would do this 50 to 60 times throughout the day. It would take us, 10 hours, 11, 12 hours. I remember doing this all day. I would do it for hours upon hours. We'd stop, we'd get lunch, then we'd stop, we'd get dinner. And that's what I would do all day. Take back all the receipts. I would also have the names to send the money to. I would have a list. I would have a list of, all these names, and we would be sending to those names. I'd just mark it off, and as we go down the list, that's what we did. So just another quick story for you guys about how I used to compress drugs. I used to transport it, and also used to ride around Manhattan in a black limo, sending money back to Colombia to, the real mafia down there. And that's what I would do. So another quick story for you guys. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you to all my subscribers. I love you guys. We're going to keep pushing these stories. Let's go.